Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome inside the bowels of the American Airlines Center down here in Dallas. Blues and Dallas Stars later on tonight with a later start again. Will play Game 4 of their best-of-7 series. The Blues coming away with a 4-3 victory. They're in Game 3. They take a 2-1 series lead. That's Joe. I'm Chris. Glad to have you with us, joining us on our Facebook Live. Blues Game Day Live this morning. And, Joe, this series playing out pretty much as expected so far, just like the first round series did against the Winnipeg Jets. And the one real key so far, yet again for the St. Louis Blues, as it was in round one, is net front. It's the goals going in right at the blue paint.
It really is. Two very heavy teams. Chris, talk about that blue paint, that whole area. Let's go back to Game 3 just for a second. Tyler Bozak at the doorstep, and we also saw Jaden Schwartz a tip early in that game right in front of Ben Bishop, and no one's going to forget Pat Maroon, the game winner there, right in tight, right around the blue paint. Jim Montgomery, Craig Berube, both these coaches, it's an extreme value. Who plays better, who plays tighter, who plays more gritty in that blue paint. The Blues won it in Game 3. We'll see what happens here in Game 4.
Well, one of the things about this Game 4 and the series so far for the Dallas Stars, Joe, is they're in the same exact spot that they were in the last series. They split the games in Nashville. They came home. They ended up losing game number 3. But then they rolled off 3 very strong, solid wins, 3 great performances in that series to defeat the Nashville Predators. So this is not uncharted territory, and you'd expect both teams to come in with a certain amount of calm today.
You definitely do. And I think that's how Dallas Stars are feeling right now. Tyler Seguin spoke about it yesterday. We've been in this position before, just last week, actually. You mentioned they won 3 straight. So they're a confident team. They're a calm team. They've been in this position before. But with the same token, Tyler Seguin also saying that they're playing good hockey, but they're not playing desperate hockey like we saw the St. Louis Blues in Game 3. Jim Montgomery, Jamie Benn, all the leaders in that group, they're going to have a much more desperate effort here tonight. So the challenge, again, is going to be for the St. Louis Blues to try to match that.
All right, well, that could lead to special teams, and the Dallas Stars have had almost a nearly perfect penalty kill over the course of these playoffs. As a matter of fact, they've only allowed the 1 goal, and that came to the Blues earlier in this series. On the Stars' special team side, they've gotten a couple of power play goals in this series, but they also got that shorthanded goal in the last one. So the Stars have been winning the special teams battle, I think it's fair to say, so far in this series. When you start to play more of that desperate hockey, when you play more of that gritty hockey, that grind it down low, there is the chance for more penalties to come in. Special teams could be a real key in Game 4.
I think they will. I think we haven't seen them as much in the series as I thought they would, but I think moving into Game 4, it's going to be something special. You mentioned the numbers for power play and penalty kill for the Blues. The Dallas Stars got a power play goal and a shorthanded goal, and let's not forget in Game 2 when it was a 4-on-4 situation, not that that's special teams, but a different situation, different scenario where the Dallas Stars pretty much took it to the St. Louis Blues. I think in tonight's game with the penalties and how the penalties have been called in these playoffs, it's going to be very important to get a power play goal. You're going to get hopefully 1 or 2 here tonight. The biggest struggle for the Blues right now on the power play is they're losing those opening faceoffs. I almost expect tonight maybe a different adjustment. Instead of Ryan O'Reilly or Tyler Bozak trying to snap it back because Rope Hintz and Tyler Seguin doing a good job, maybe you make the adjustment where you just bat it forward. You tell your wingers just to go. You win some battles down low, and you want to get possession of the puck, and that's where the Blues have really suffered in the power play department in this series. So the ability to get the puck right off the faceoff, that's going to get you set up right away. And we also saw the adjustment on the power play, Chris, in Game 3, where Vince Dunn's been moved to that top power play unit. It gave a different look for the second power play unit with Parayko and Pietrangelo both out there, both righties, and Craig Berube said we want them just to shoot the puck, and we saw what happened when Pietrangelo did that.
All right, then finally, when you look at this series and you look at tonight's game, the top lines have done a pretty good job of keeping each other in check. No one player has really gone off. We've had Tarasenko get a couple goals in one game. Jamie Benn got a goal, and Radulov, Seguin scored last game, but no one has really taken over the series so far in terms of a top-line standpoint. When that's the case, and you put the beef on bun and you try to go head-to-head and you maybe negate the other team's top line, that's where the depth comes in. And both teams have found some level of success in this series with the depth scoring. It was Rope Hintz line in Game 2, and it was the Tyler Bozak line in Game 3.
Yes, it was. And you're seeing this across the NHL right now. Let's just look at Boston, for example. That line's being completely shut down, their top line with Marchand and Bergeron. So, and they're finding themselves down in the series right now because Boston's not getting a lot of secondary scoring. For the St. Louis Blues and the Dallas, for this situation, you look at Rope Hintz, that line's been terrific, and the Blues are going to need that depth because right now the top 2 lines are shut down. You mentioned there's a couple goals sprinkled in there here and there. Radulov, Seguin, yes, they both had goals last game, but one came on the power play and one was late and kind of off both broken plays. Not a lot of sustainability and not a lot of longevity in offensive zone time for either first line. So this is where secondary scoring is just so important. And we saw the second and third line in the Winnipeg series for the St. Louis Blues, how effective they could be with Oscar Sundqvist and Tyler Bozak, Pat Maroon in that series. And now we're starting to see that line again here in this series. And kind of the unsung hero for that Bozak line for me in Game 3 was Robert Thomas. I thought his speed, I thought he's looking smooth. He's looking more and more confident for a 19-year-old in the NHL playoffs. And I think he really drove that line. He's using his speed, pushing everyone back, and he's letting Tyler Bozak and Pat Maroon go to work down low.
All right, now maybe the most important thing of the day here, folks. The West Coast Kid Rule is in play when it comes to the playoffs. Now, the West Coast Kid Rule, so folks know about it. It is a law. It is on the books somewhere. It is a federal law that when your team is playing and the playoffs are on the West Coast, kids are allowed to stay up and listen to the game. They're allowed to stay up as late as they possibly can. It doesn't matter how crabby you send them to school the next day. So the game time tonight is an 8:30 start. It'll be more like probably an 8:40, maybe even an 8:45 puck drop. The game can be heard on the radio side on Y98. It'll be joined in progress on KMOX radio after the Cardinal game. And then, of course, on the TV side, it's on NBC Sports Network. Now, because of the early game with the New York Islanders game going on tonight as well, the scenario could happen where that game goes long. The Blues website and the Blues social media is where to go to check out all the different scenarios on how to get it. Because for some of those, like if you have Dish Network like I do at home, and when it's a national thing like that, it doesn't just get cut to the local feed as most people would think. So make sure you check the scenario where to catch the start of the game if that early game goes long. Otherwise, it'll be on NBC Sports Network. But we do know, without a shred of doubt, that we will be with you at 8 p.m. on Y98 with the pregame show. 8:30 is when the network broadcast gets underway, and we'll have all the action for you as well. And again, kids, you're allowed to stay up as late as you possibly can when it's the playoffs, and let's hope it's a regulation win tonight for the St. Louis Blues. We got to make sure people remember that.
We have to do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a law.
I think the kids go home from school.
You can't break the law.
I would put the kids down for a nap, 4 p.m. nap, wake them up at 6,
yeah.
have a little dinner, ready to rock and roll.
That's right. Nothing like a mid-evening nap so they can watch playoff hockey. Hey, have a terrific day today. It's a game day. Wear your jersey, wear your Blues gear, wear it proud, and we'll see you later on tonight from American Airlines Center.